Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. This is going to be a no communications reading for those people dealing with a Leo. If you are not currently in contact with a Leo, no talking, no Skyping, no calling, no texting, no letter writing, no nothing, then this is the reading for you. What you will see here, we're going to get 3 cards here on the bottom left from Leo to you. What would they say to you if the lines of communication were to open, if they suddenly felt inspired or compelled or even brave enough to speak to you? What would Leo say? We'll also get a line from you to Leo. If those lines of communication opened up and you felt compelled, inspired, or brave enough to speak to Leo, what would you like to tell them? And we'll see that up here in the top right. There will be a shared energy in the center. We'll read that as well, which I think I have neglected to do in the last 2 readings. They've been so strong. Yeah, I don't think I read it in the past 2 readings, so I don't know. Maybe we'll do that because I did it for all the previous ones, the past 2 days that I've recorded these, but I just did Capricorn and Pisces, and I didn't do that. So I don't know if that's being annexed from the readings. I intended that when I created this spread, but if it's not important, I guess I don't have to do it. Anyway, guys, there's a timestamp in the description box below. If you want to skip ahead to when the reading actually begins, you're free to do that. There's also information down there if you want to get a personal reading with me. And of course, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment on the channel and on the video if it resonates with you. Show love, care, support in all the ways that YouTube allows you to do. Now, anything else? Anything else? Anything else? I think that's it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, and then we'll clarify if we need clarification. There will be an oracle card more than likely, so you have that to look forward to as well, okay? All right, let's get into it. And of course, I hope you guys are doing well. I try to remember to say that to people who are watching my videos because, you know, being good and feeling good and feeling good about life is very important. So I hope you're doing well and you're feeling well, okay? All right, guys, let's get into it. I want to see 3 cards from Leos not in communication with the viewer. If they had a chance to speak, what would Leo say to the viewer? If they had a chance to speak, if there was something that Leo needed to tell the viewer, what would they tell them? I want to see 3 cards for that, please. No. Leo might have a big story built up there. Okay, 2. Is that right? Which way? Like this? Or the other way? The other way. Okay, thank you. So 2 for 1, getting things done efficiently. Maybe that's why Leo was taking their time. They have a lot to say in the beginning, maybe. All right, final card from Leo to the viewer. What would Leo like to say to the viewer? What would Leo like to say? Okay, that poked my finger in such a way that I'm going to take it. All right. And top line. Oh, that's where that goes out here. Sorry, guys. Just a moment. Top line on the right-hand side. What would the viewer like to say to Leo? Please show me those 3 cards. What would the viewer like to say to Leo if the lines of communication were to be opened? Okay. You have a little bit more. Did that go in the... It did not go in the bag. Where did it go? Directly underneath me. 1 second. All right, guys, I apologize about that. So this card fell to the ground just like that. I think this was like first, and then this one tumbled out afterwards. I'm going to put that in number 1. I'm going to put this in number 2. And we will resume the shuffle to get the final 3rd card. Once I stop being anal about things and move on. All right, final card from the viewer to Leo. Please show me that message. Show me that card, please. Final card from the viewer to Leo. Okay, and it's kind of sideways. No bottom of the deck in this type of reading. Which way? From the viewer to Leo, which way? Thank you. Now, I think it was Pisces. Yes, it was Pisces. I noted it with Pisces. I'm going to note it with you guys who are dealing with Leo. Look at all the cards and how they're all face down. You guys either don't want to speak or are very shy to speak. You know, very timid, very like, oh, I don't know what to say. Okay, so that's initially what I'm getting off of everything that has happened. Okay, now let's flip everything over and see what we're actually dealing with. And from you, come on, man. There you go. All right, mixed bag. It looks like. Oh my God, I'm so hungry. Thank God this is the final video so I can go eat dinner. I'm so hungry. All right, guys. In frame. There we go. A little bit better. All right, guys. Let's get into it. Collectively, what Leo would like to say to you, viewer, if they had the chance to speak or the gumption to do so. King of Swords in reverse. Four of Swords in reverse. And Eight of Pentacles. Okay. Well, collectively, it feels like Leo might be a little flummoxed. Maybe not sure how to say what needs to be said. Might not have the articulate or clear sense of how to even broach the subject of, hey, can we talk? Or, hey, you know, how are you? Like, they might be overthinking it, okay? Something like that. Collectively, those three together. Now, the first one out is the King of Swords in reverse, air sign energy. You might be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but you don't have to be. It's a general collective. Now, King of Swords in the reverse. Either the Leo wouldn't know what to say, or they would say too much. Or they have this feeling that they would say too much, or they have this fear of saying the wrong things. This energy, King of Swords in reverse, swords being about mental capacity and communication, and kings being the masters of that. Kings and queens are master of their suits, right? At different qualities or in different ways, right? And so the king would definitely be someone who would be like an amazing speech writer, or somebody who would be great at public speaking, or a mediator, or maybe not a mediator, but like a lawyer or something like that. Somebody who could argue a case, right? So somebody who like debates as a professional or something like that. And in the reverse, it's like a inability to get to that point, or an inability to showcase that skill. So due to you guys not talking, for whatever reason you're not talking, or whoever initiated that energy, whether it was them, you, or both of you together, this Leo feels incapable of lifting the barrier. I don't feel thus far there's any animosity. I don't feel that there's any intention or real, at least from the Leo's perspective, to keep it that way forever. It feels Leo's perspective is, this is temporary. This no talking, this no communication between us. And when the time comes for you guys to talk again, whether that be a simple, hey, how are you? Or a simple, let's finally talk and air this out, hash this out. They don't really know how to get that off the ground, or they're not sure where to start. You know, the the drama between you might be so significant or so thick and heavy that they're like, I don't even know how to approach this thing. But, you know, I know we need to talk. And I feel that for the most part, many of the Leos that you're dealing with, they're like, I know we need to discuss some things. I know that this no communication thing between us started because of this, and it needs to do that. Like, they know, but there's just like I don't know how to go about that. Or in some of the cases, still at this moment, there's an unwillingness, or if it's not I'm incapable, in other cases it's I'm unwilling to do this, right? Because I'm not going to deny because I'm feeling like the majority of the Leo energy that I'm connecting with says, you know what, I see there's a need to fix things here. And there's a smaller portion of Leos that are just like, yeah, there's something to fix, but it's not on me to fix it. It's up to you. Or it's up to something, something, something. It's up to some other elements, right? There's some other issue that needs to be addressed first is kind of how that comes across. So interesting. Leo is, for once, maybe a little tongue-tied, maybe a little unsure of themselves and their capabilities. This Leo might be coming from an ego bruised perspective. It really feels like even if they shut you out, even if they iced you out, even if they walked away from you, they're kind of like, maybe I shouldn't have done that, you know? Or if it's you to them, they're like, they slammed the door in my face. Oh my God, they blocked my number. Oh my God, they unfriended me. You know, it's like this, it's like really bewildering, the Leo. They're very confused and they don't know what to do about it. Second thing they would say is the Four of Swords in reverse. I'll show you that up. Oh, look what's on there. It's a lion. So that visually gives a nice little synchronicity or confirmation to someone. And look, he's like sleeping, right? He's like taking a big cat nap, right? But in the reverse. So again, I feel there's like a small group of Leos who are unwilling. So what I'm about to say is not applicable to them. The bigger energy that is here, viewer, is that this Leo is ready to take action. You know, when you have the Four of Swords in the upright, that shows a pause in the action, that shows taking a time out, that shows being on, you know, an extended vacation or something like that, because it encourages the person, or the message is to encourage rest and respite and reflection and really, you know, pondering over whatever the situation is, right? Four of Swords. Ooh, my stomach is so... Anyway, Four of Swords in the reverse. I think that many Leos, again, even if they're the one that initiated this energy, many are just like, it's gone on too long now. This is enough. Like, for us not to talk about this, for us to not clear the air, for us to not address the matter at hand, or for us to pretend that, you know, if there was bad blood here, it feels like Leo doesn't even, not that they don't acknowledge that, but it feels like most of them are not even feeling that energy anymore. If they were pissed, if they were angry, if they were hurt, if they felt, you know, any kind of negative emotion towards you or towards the situation or whatever, I feel that has mostly dissipated. I mean, what I'm really getting is that this used to be like this on Leo's side, this Four of Swords. Like, okay, I'm going to go walk it off. I'm going to go, you know, count to 158 and walk around the block, and just, you know, they really went away. They accepted the separation or the lack of communication. They have accepted the silent time, and they it feels like they did what they needed to do. Now that that's over, there is this desire to do something about it. However, like I said, everything in the King of Swords is like, but how do I do it? Now the other group, let me pick this back up. The other group, again, the smaller portion that say, even if I do want to speak, even if I do want to address the person that I'm not communicating with, it's not on me to do it, it's on them to do it. This is now, that would then turn into impatience for that group. That group that are just like, okay, I'm waiting to hear from them, or I'm waiting for them to initiate, or I'm waiting for some other thing to happen so that we can go ahead and get some sense of what's going on here. So it's like they are unwilling to make the first move, or yeah, they just don't feel they have to, while simultaneously feeling frustrated that you, viewer, are not making the first move. They might want peace just as much as you, but I'm not going to saddle up to the table. I'm not going to arrive first. It's like that weird thing. And you know how sometimes, like, when you go to meet somebody somewhere and you sit in your car, like say meet me there at 3, and you say, okay. You get there, it's like 2:50, or and you're sitting in your car. And you will not get out of your car. Some people do this. You will not get out. It could be 3:05. If you don't see that that person entered the building first, or you might text them from the car, are you there? Are you here yet? And they say 5 minutes. You wait 5 minutes. Like, you refuse to go into the restaurant, into the wherever, the movie theater, wherever, before the other person arrives. Like, that is the energy. I'm not going to move out of my car. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to pick up this phone. I'm not going to do anything until they show me that they want to talk. Does that make sense? Final part of the Leo's message to you is the 8 of Pentacles. So, no matter how you slice it, no matter which Leo you're dealing with, the one that's a little bit more peaceful, the one who's a little bit more calm and measured and more open, or the other one who's like reluctantly. Like, you know, another thing they're showing me, you know how like when you're dealing with kids, and again, if you've been on my channel before, you know I don't really deal with children that much, but they've become a part of my spiritual life, and so I'm trying to embrace it. And I'm remembering when I was a kid, or when I would like be around people with children. But anyway, you know how when you have a kid and they say, I want that. And then the initial thing is, no, not right now. But I want it. And they start to whine and they start to cry. And you could be a parent or, you know, whoever. And then finally, because the kid wants it so bad, they're like, okay, here, fine, you can have it. And then they're like, well, and they act like they don't want it. So that's that smaller group of Leos. I want to put this to bed, or I want to reinstate the communication. I want to go back and open up the lines of communication, or whatever this is pertaining to. It feels like whatever Leo I'm connecting with, or Leos I'm connecting with, they all want it. The bigger group is like more mature about it. The other group is like that spoiled little brat in the middle of the shopping aisle going, I want those cookies. The parent's like, no, you can't have the cookies. I want the cookies. Okay, fine, here's the cookies. And they turn away, they cross their arms because they didn't get it when they wanted it first. When I asked for it the first time, it didn't happen. Now that I've worn you down with my whining, now you come and give me the cookies. Now it's like, oh, well, maybe I don't want the cookies. Yes, you fucking want the cookies. So, all Leos, not all in your life, but that are going to be prevalent to this reading, they want it. Some are just a little more stubborn to show it, or they're a little more bratty about it. So anyway, the last part, because the reason I'm saying this is because the last part of Leo's message to you is the 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles is about work. 8 of Pentacles is about effort. 8 of Pentacles is about time well spent moving towards a specific goal. Now, in terms of Pentacles, maybe they would tell you, I'm hard at work. You know, maybe an issue of you guys falling out has been over money, what they have contributed, what you have contributed, or whatever it is, or having to earn enough or having to save enough, something like that. Maybe in some of your cases. That's not for everybody. But there is this attentiveness to the detail, and there's this attentiveness to the matter at hand. This is detail-oriented, fixated, you know, things going to plan, or following the steps. Yeah, step 1, step 2, step 2B, step 2C, okay? Go back to step 1 if step 2B shows the results, or blah, 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 blah. Like, it's being really meticulous. And so Leo would tell you, listen, whatever I have to do, I don't feel like there's any apology here, by the way, from Leo, if that's what you're expecting. I don't feel that Leo has anything to apologize for. At least that's what they feel. If anything, they're sorry that things have gotten to this point. But it doesn't feel like, even if they initiated the whole no contact thing, there's no apology here. That's why. I'm like, why is there no apology? Like, because it feels like Leo has a big, soft heart at this moment. And usually that means people are sorry, or that they're very in a nurturing mood and they want to make everything great, and they want to, you know, kiss the boo-boo and make it better. Leo's not wanting to dwell on what has happened. They're very at this moment and forward. What happens from this moment and forward is what this feels like. So at this moment and forward, Leo intends to put in work. If that's what you need from them, if that's something they need for themselves, That is what they're prepared to do. This is, again, detail oriented, being very measured, precise, and dedicated. Pentacles, dedication, investments. You know, pentacles are not easily shifted energies. It's not fast. So it builds over time with pentacles, yeah? Interesting. What would you tell Leo if the lines of communication were to open up? Dear viewer, you would tell them the Hierophant. I don't know why I said it that way. The Hierophant. Major Arcana for Taurus. You might be a Taurus, but, you know, it's a general. You don't have to be. I think you would tell them, in some cases, let's get married. That's very strange. Because, you know, this is a general. It's not particular on anybody in a love romantic situation. It's not particular on anybody with friends or family or anything. It can go in any direction. But for those where it's romantic, you might tell them, let's get married, or I want something serious with you, or there's an issue of marriage that is a problem. Okay. You might, okay. Oh. Some of you, this whole marriage, in terms of romance, right? The prospect of marriage, or the system, what do you call that? Oh my God. The construct of marriage is a problem here in some form or fashion. Some of you want to say, oh, I want to marry you, or I want to be with you. You know, you want that back, or you want that opportunity. Great. For others of you, this whole commitment thing, because the Hierophant is more than marriage, and we're going to talk about for other people in a second. For those where it's not, I just want to rush in and marry you, Leo, or I want to accept your commitment, or whatever. Marriage is an issue for you. Commitment is an issue for you. Rules and regulations are an issue for you. You have a complex relationship with either people that embody the Hierophant energy, or again, just the construct of commitments and marriages and, you know, social decorum and rules and regulations. You might be a little bit of a rebel. And so you might, this is going to be a fun little quote for some of you. I'm a loner Dottie. I'm a rebel. Okay. Where Leo might want to maybe solidify things with you or come closer to you, and you might tell them, I got issue with that. I don't want to be necessarily tied in any way to anyone for any reason. I'm a loner Dottie, a rebel. Okay. Others of you, you're just like, oh my God, I want to marry you today. So that's romance and whatever situations, right? For those, it's not romance and it's like friends and family or business partners and stuff like that. I think that this whole adherence to the rules is important to you. Meaning, if there was a misstep on your part, on their part, on both of your parts, if in terms of business, if like contracts weren't signed, or there were certain violations to agreements, something like that, that would have to be addressed. Like this whole issue of what is expected, because the Hierophant that represents that. The Hierophant represents what is expected, what is prescribed to a society, to a family, to members of a club or members of a university. These are the books, these are the rules, these are the what do you call those? The charters, right? The charters of our institution state that in blah, 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 and then you read like a whole stiff paragraph of what the hell Charter 682 means, you know? That's what this energy represents. Not the person, not you, viewers, not you, but that's the energy that you bring forth. Expectation of, either you expect it from Leo, or in some of your cases, you would tell Leo, I have expectations placed on me. There we go. If you are not embodying this energy yourself, viewer, you are telling Leo, behind me, in my past, or people I work for, people I live with, people I am in business with, people that you and I are trying to be in business with, they have certain expectations of you, of me, of us together, and that needs to be addressed. So that is a very layered card. I could sit here forever and talk about that. We're probably going to clarify that because that's quite, and now I see everything else that's going on. So, expectations from you, viewer, to Leo, or from other people in your life that is filtered through you, that you kind of carry on and you present to Leo. Well, if we're going to do business together, here are the rules and regulations that are expected by this parent company or the people that are investing in our business. Or in terms, going back to the romantic thing, I am from an Orthodox Jew family. Here are the rules and regulations that you need to follow if you want to be married to me. Does that make sense? Now, the second thing that you would tell Leo is 7 of Wands. You are hanging you're hanging on by a thread in some form or fashion. Whether that is you're hanging on to the expectations and the decorum and the historical, just what has worked for millennia or centuries or generations in your family or in your business, you're hanging on to those traditions, or it's working in both ways for whoever's viewing this. Some of you are like, I'm hardcore expecting a traditional marriage or a traditional relationship, a relationship that adheres to the rules and all of the things that we have known to be just the facts of life or the way of life, right? Some of you are clinging to that. Others of you, you're hanging on by a thread and you're dropping away from that, okay? It could go either way with the 7 of Wands. So you would tell Leo, if we're going to be together, business, romance, as a family, as whatever, here are the rules. Here's the rule book, Leo. And you drop this huge book in front of Leo. Be like, that's what I expect. Deal with it. Or others of you are like taking that book, picking it up, tossing it into the incinerator going, that's what, or at least like that's what you want to do. And you're trying to tell Leo that, like, listen, I would love to be in business with you, or to be in a relationship with you or whatever, but according to the big wigs, according to the powers that be, I really can't move that way. I'm hanging on by a thread, meaning, either you really want to adhere to that and you want to uphold those traditions, or you're like 2 steps away from letting all that go and sort of running off into the sunset with Leo, or kind of letting whatever Leo wants or whatever you want kind of take the lead, because the 7 of Wands traditionally is about standing your ground. And I feel in combination with the Hierophant, you either stand your ground towards your values, towards your traditions, or you stand your ground moving away from your traditions, moving away from those old values that either were given to you, bestowed on you, expected of you from other people, or whatever. Final card that you would share, or final thing that you would say to Leo, is the Knight of Swords. Air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You might be an air sign or not. It doesn't matter. Listen, you fighting for something. That 7 of Wands combined with this Knight of Swords, which, if you can see, there is a man there towards the left side of the image. And his gaze is long and staring right back at your starting position of the Hierophant across the 7 of Wands. So I feel, again, you're either going to fight to uphold what is expected, the decorum of a situation, the rules, the regulations. You're by the book, and that's what you know, and that's what you're going to run towards, or you're running in there to mow it down, to take your sword and chop it to bits. You both, yes, I see it already, but we're not there just yet, but I see it. You both are interested in how can we, as a pair, as friends, family, whatever, move either ourselves as individuals or ourselves as a unit towards what we want in the long run. Yeah? I think, interestingly, viewer, you have a lot more not to bring to the table. That's not the way I want to say this. Let me clear that up. You have the opening statement. If this was a court of law, opening statement, you go first. I'm not trying to let Leo off the hook here, like if Leo should come and apologize or if Leo should, be the one to initiate. It's more of like the impact is greater on your side because this is heavier than what Leo's going through. Leo's just like caught up in their head, like, I guess this is how I should say that, or maybe I should say it this way, or maybe I should do that. There's a lot more questioning over here of what I need to do just to get the lines of communication open. On your side, it's like, to hell with whether or not we're communicating. We're talking about lifestyles. We're talking about tradition. We're talking about how to conduct business going forward. We're talking about what it would be like if we were to come into union as a married couple, as a business couple, or as estranged friends. Whatever your situation is, you have a bigger, the impact of whatever's going on for you, viewer, is so much more than whatever Leo is dealing with. Now, what I haven't done, and I have been reminded I am doing, is to read the central energies collectively. So, Leo to you. Eight of Pentacles to your Knight of Swords would say, listen, it feels like, Leo would say, they know it's going to be work. There's a recognition with Eight of Pentacles, that detail-oriented thing that I mentioned before, studying the rule book. I did mention something like that, right? Studying the steps or following the steps. Aha! So, if there are certain rules and regulations that are expected in however you guys would be dealing with each other going forward, or there's rules and expectations with how you guys need to communicate going forward, Leo is willing to work with it. Yeah? That's that eight of Pentacles. And willing to go the speed at which you choose, or the speed at which is necessary. If it's not what you choose or they choose, if it's what's necessary due to some agreement, fine. Because the Knight of Swords traditionally is a fast energy. Now, this Eight of Pentacles, this, again, because of the dedication to the task, is willing to ramp it up. If it needs to go 100 miles a minute, great. If it needs to be 48 miles a minute, perfect. This Leo to you would say, whatever speed we need to go, let's go there. Or let's go that speed. However we need to approach this. If you want to go in hot and like if this was like a negotiation, if you guys fell out as business partners and now you're like thinking of coming back together, you might come in and say, okay, Leo, let's work on this again, but we need to get this thing off the ground in 3 weeks. As much as Leo's heart might be a little, damn, 3 weeks? Oh my God, okay. They would be like, all right, I can do it. If you're like, all right, I got a longer game plan, I think we can get this done in 3 months. They're like, that might be a little slow, but that gives me time to really analyze, and it gives me time to really pay attention to all the details. It gives us time to really iron out all the possibilities and all this other kind of stuff. And they could work with that too. This energy, the Eight of Pentacles to the Knight of Swords, is saying, I can, and that makes sense, again, with the dedication and being, on task. I'm adaptable. I am adaptable. My energy to you, Leo would say, my energy or my intention or my efforts towards you or towards the situation at hand is totally adaptable. Okay? You to them, Knight of Swords to the Eight of Pentacles, you might want to go in there and like bust up their studying, because the Eight of Pentacles is like that, not pondering, but certainly, what's that phrase? Measure twice, cut once kind of thing, right? That practical way of approaching a situation, not, rushing through. If you were like baking a cake or making any kind of meal off of a recipe, you would read the instructions like 2 or 3 times. Okay. Measure 3 cups of flour, got it. And then 2 cups of milk. Okay, cool. 2 eggs, got it. And then you go back at the top. Okay, 3 cups of flour, 3 cups of milk, 2 eggs, got it. And you would read it again. Like that whole again and again, and like really wanting it to be perfect. Your energy to them is potentially, listen, we don't have time for that. Or it's also kind of like some of you kind of want to put a boot up Leo's ass, being like, stop hemming and hawing over there. Why won't you just like do this. Like this is your energy to them is like wanting more action. Okay, fine. You've read the recipe like 2 times, Leo. Let's go. You don't need to read it a 3rd time, you know? So there's like this, I want to see more out of you, even though I think the Leo's doing what they feel is a lot of work or a lot of energy, a lot of intention in whatever they're doing. Oh, there we go. Got it. That's another thing. Here we go. Knight of Swords to the 8 of Pentacles. If the 8 of Pentacles is like an incredibly concentrated energy, focused on the task, you might want to just like bust in the door and like break Leo's concentration. Not in a destructive way. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to mess up your progress or screw you up in any type of way. It really feels like a, Leo, don't pay attention to that. We have to go over here. So it's like reprioritizing them or refocusing their energy, refocusing their focus, basically. That's interesting. I want clarification on that Hierophant. Because that was so thick, like a thick chocolate shake or something. Lots of things. Why is the Hierophant here? I want to see clarification on the Hierophant, please. Give me clarification on the Hierophant on the viewer side. Why is the Hierophant on their side? Please show me. One. Will I get another one? I don't know. Let's see. Yep. 2. They're like, get 2. Thank you. All right, so Ace of Swords and 5 of Wands. Okay. So for you, viewer, it's definitely a contentious energy in some form or fashion. Whether it's contentious with you and Leo agreeing to something, or you having to get Leo on board or get them to understand something, there is potential contentious energy that trickles back to your interaction with Leo. But if I'm honest, it really feels more like you have contentious energy with others, whether that be family members, whether that be friends, whether that be other people you might be dating or talking to, or exes, or I don't know. It can be anybody. But there's this fighting, and it's petty fighting. It's 5. It's not crucial. I shouldn't say it's not crucial. It's not gonna make or break certain relationships. It's really opinions. It's really, you know, people throwing their 2 cents in and maybe they don't have to. Like that, like going back to that whole, I would love to be in a relationship with you, but my family is Orthodox, whatever, or I come from this type of tradition, and it's like your auntie like calls you up and is like, so I see that you want to talk to Leo, or I heard that you stopped talking to Leo. Well, I think that's a wonderful idea because, you know, he or she is blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, why are you calling my phone telling me not to talk to, you know what I mean? It's like people are throwing their 2 cents at you about, based on, well, you know, in our family, this is what we do, or this, nobody in our family has ever dated, nobody in our family has ever done business with, those types of people. And I'm not trying to like call anybody out. I'm not trying to, you know, say your family is of this or that, or you have family members that are this or that, but it's really like, it's never been done before. And you, viewer, do not think that you're about to upset tradition around here. That is what that 5 of Wands feels like in that way. In the other way, where you are adhering to the tradition, it might be a fight between you and Leo, where Leo's kind of like, so your family does what? Or this is how you do business, and why do you do it this way? And you're just like, well, that's just because that's how it's done. And so it's like contentious, but you can overcome it, especially with the Ace of Swords coming out. And I didn't even show you the cards. I apologize. With the Ace of Swords right next to it, there's an ultimate personal truth on the line here for you, viewer, that I think is really integral to whatever happens next. You know, whatever you decide, whatever Leo decides, whatever transpires between the pair of you, I think it revolves around or rests more heavily on your side. And I said that. Like, Leo's just like sharpening their tools, you know? They're studying the playbook. They're prepared to speak, or prepared to act, and prepared to do just about anything if you guys need or want to come into communication again. You got a lot more going on. Like, they're like, even tonally, like in terms of the color, blue, purple, calming colors, soothing. You've got some yellow here, you got some yellow, a little bit of blue here, you got a lot of orange, and you got some red and a little bit of purple. And the purple on your side feels like, and given that it's the Hierophant card, it feels like it feels like a hymnal, or like, I'm not religious, but I'm going to use this. It's like a hymn book. Oh God, you are so precious to me. You know, like that old hymnal music that some churches play. And you, this might be your story. You might be like, I want to bring in a live band into the church. And your pastor, your mother, your cousin, your brother, they're like, what? You want to do what? Yeah, I want to bring in a live band to kind of, do a different, I'm thinking of taking the old hymn books and like modernizing the music. And I'm going to do it in the style of, hip hop, right? That's usually very upsetting to a religious sect, right? So it's like, you're trying to upset the apple cart here. That, it doesn't sit well with the Hierophant in some of your cases. Let's go ahead and get a freaking oracle card and close this reading out, because this has gone on a long time. Which oracle card for the reading with Leo's not in communication? Okay, thank you. We got coming back to the Goddess Guidance deck by Doreen Virtue. Goddess Guidance. Alright, let's get one oracle card for this reading, please. An oracle message for this reading between Leo's not in communication and the viewer. One card for those not in communication with Leo. Oh, yeah, last one. Thank you. No bridge either. That's all. One card, please. Okay, there we go. And let's see what it is. Guinevere. True love. The romantic stirrings in your heart have propelled the universe to deliver great love to you. Listen, this is not meant to be strictly a love reading, but it heavily is about love and romance for a good portion of you. Just saying. And love, of course, is beyond those that you're romantically in love with or interested in. It can be platonic and familial love, right? True love, Guinevere. Messages from Guinevere. Romance is not an outmoded concept. Far from it. Romance is the time-honored percept of merging with the divine as it's manifest within another human being. Romance is also playfulness, which heralds springtime, flowers, and new life. You needn't be in a partnership to evoke romance, however. You can manifest it for yourself through laughter, surrounding yourself with beauty, and indulging in luxurious treats. Romance is the life force of the universe and is a worthwhile goal indeed. Various meanings of this card. Your soulmate relationship has arrived or is soon arriving. Hey, what? Go ahead. There is a renewed passion in an existing relationship. You are a very romantic person. Your romantic needs aren't being met, and you must take steps to alleviate this. Well, listen, friends. I want to reiterate basically what the card said, which is, you know, not all love or true love or romance. It doesn't always have to mean you have to be in partnership. You can experience romance on your own. I think you both, Leo and viewer, need it. You need to experience romance on your respective sides. Leo might be a little bit ahead of the game because you do have 2 cards of strife, viewers, 7 of Wands and 5 of Wands with the clarification. And the Knight of Swords is a pretty intense energy, so you might need it more than the Leo does, but either way, love in general is not always about who you bone or who you're intimate with in those sexual ways. It doesn't have to be that. But I definitely, even while it was shuffling, even though we saw all the cards came face down, and there was like, it was like a shyness, it was like a timidness. And once you flip, you see Leo wants to try, you probably want to try, and you both aren't communicating. And the whole time I have felt, and I've mentioned this for a few others, I think it was Aquarius, maybe it was also Cancer, don't quote me on Cancer, but at least Aquarius yesterday. You and Aquarius, Knight of Swords there, maybe you're linked with, or maybe you're an Aquarius watching this. In that reading in this one, it doesn't feel like either side really wants to not speak to one another. It just so happens they're not speaking for whatever reason. Whoever initiated it, or whatever happened between you that caused you to have a falling out, whatever. It really feels like water under the bridge. Other readings, people don't want to fucking talk. They're like, oh, we're not speaking, and that's exactly what I want. So count yourselves lucky, viewer, or Leo, whoever's watching this, count yourself lucky. Both parties would love to talk. So go ahead and start talking. Or when the situation, especially on your side, this conflict dissipates, maybe then, okay? All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. This is the longest reading. I'm so sorry. If you found something in this reading that resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And all that stuff shows support. It lets me know that you enjoy the content and you want to see more of it. If you want a personal, it's down in the description box as well. This particular reading, this style of reading, I'll probably do it again. When and where, I don't know. The schedule is tight. This was just something I was guided to create and put on the channel to see how it was received. It seems to be going pretty well so far, so I'll probably do it again. And when I do, if you're subscribed, you'll be the first to know. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you taking your time to watch this video today. Take care. Bye.